The views and opinions expressed by the guests or hosts of this program do not necessarily reflect those of Divine Mercy Radio, Incorporated.
From the studios of Catholic 540 AM, Divine Mercy Radio, this is Meet the Priest. There are over 120 active diocesan and religious order priests in our listening area. Meet the Priest gives you the chance to learn more about these dedicated and interesting people. Now, here's your host for Meet the Priest, Nicole Jungclas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Meet the Priest on Catholic 540 AM Divine Mercy Radio. Here we present you with the opportunity to meet and learn about the devout men in and around our diocese. They have such an amazing impact on our lives as Catholics. I'm your host, Nicole Jungclas, and today we have with us Monsignor Joseph Ntuwa from All Saints Hampstead Parish. Thank you so much, Monsignor, for coming today.
Thank you so much, Nicole. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, you've come a little bit of a drive today, right? You said 2.5 hour drive?
It was 2 hours, but
2 hours?
The first few miles it was raining right from Hampstead, so I don't like driving during the rains. But later on, after a while, so it was nice and clear.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to be here.
No, we're so happy to have you. Can you explain a little bit about where your parish is? Because before we started our recording for our listeners, you were trying to explain to me that it's located between Jacksonville and Wilmington, but there's another parish as well.
Right, yes. So my parish is All Saints Catholic Church in Hampstead, and it has also a summer ministry location at Surf City. So we normally have masses during the summer months, right from Memorial Day weekend to Labor Day weekend at Surf City. But then the parish center itself is at Hampstead, which is between Wilmington and Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. And that's where I am as pastor since July 2018.
Okay, wow. So that's coming up on 4 years then?
Yes.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about what you do at the parish?
That's right. Yeah. So, as I told you, I joined All Saints at the beginning of July 2018. And it's a wonderful parish, good-sized parish, just over 1,000 families.
Oh, wow.
Actually, to be exact, 1,154 families, of which probably about 38% are retirees, and then we have other probably 62% other families. It's really a fast-growing area because 762 families have joined the parish since 2012. That
Wow.
means 66% have just joined in the last 10 years. So it's a fast-growing area.
Yes.
And like any priest, what I normally do, definitely celebrate the sacrifice of Mass. That's the first thing, really, first duty, celebrating both weekday Masses and Sunday Masses, and administering sacraments, visiting the sick. But also one thing I normally do, I always like to be there for the people, to just be present.
Be present.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
be present, because people normally do come at the parish and they probably have something to, they need a priest and so forth. That's why I have what you call the open office policy. What I mean by that, when at the parish and somebody just comes in, whether they are on appointment or not, I will definitely see them. Unless I'm busy doing something, but I'll always try to make sure that I see them, because you don't know why they are here. You may not have the solutions for them, but at least listen to them and so forth. So I like always to be present for the people.
I love it. I feel like you don't always hear a priest use the term, an open office policy, because, your office is really up on the altar, but at the same time, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, too.
Oh, yes. And as I said, normally there are people who would normally come, and either they just come to they are stranded. They just wanted somebody to talk to.
Absolutely.
And I try to be available. I might not have the solutions, but at least listening to them and at the same time praying with them.
That's wonderful. Well, Thank you for making that time, because I know a lot of people really appreciate that from their priests. Now, I want to ask, how many other priests are at your parish?
No, I'm the only one.
So you're the only one?
I'm the only one.
Okay, so you're wearing all the hats. You're the jack of all trades, everything there.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so they really do lean on you for all that support.
They do. But it's wonderful. You know, when you do something that you love and you are passionate about, it's fine. It's really great.
Do what you love and you don't work a day in your life, right? Sometimes.
Yeah.
No, I love that. So what I want to know is, so you've been there since 2018. Tell me a little bit about where else you've served.
Oh, that's quite interesting. First of all, I was ordained a priest at Sacred Heart Cathedral.
Is that in downtown Raleigh?
No, in Kampala, Uganda.
Oh, okay.
That's
not Raleigh. Not Raleigh.
No, in Sacred Heart Cathedral.
It's also called Sacred Heart.
That's right, in Kampala, Uganda, and that was on the 3rd of July, 1988.
Okay.
Which means I'm 34 years a priest.
Wow.
And
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's been a joyful journey. So after my ordination, I was assigned to be a member of the faculty at Christ the King and St. Charles Rwanga Seminary. It's a junior seminary, minor seminary, and I was there for 5 years. After those 5 years, that was 88 to 93, I was then assigned to go to Lancaster University for studies. And Lancaster was in the United Kingdom, and I went to read physics and education. So I was there for 4.5 years. I did both the first degree in physics and then a master's in education and physics.
And you were already ordained?
I was already a priest.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Can you tell our listeners more about why you were interested in those studies?
You see, what happens is that when the missionaries came to Uganda, whenever they set up a mission, they built a school, they built a health center, and probably something for social services. So the church has a lot of schools, a lot of health care facilities, and so forth. So we do have a lot of schools, parochial schools, and then also health centers and so forth. So we are quite engaged in education. So my bishop sent me to go and study physics because I was actually, as you realize, my first years as a priest, I did quite a lot of education work. Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's not an easy subject.
But I love the sciences.
Well, that's good. If you're good at it and you love it, it doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
Yeah, that's right. So when I graduated with a master's degree, and I went back to Uganda, and again I went back to that junior seminary, joined the faculty, and I was also asked to do some bit of part-time teaching at the Catholic University in Uganda as well. It's called Uganda Matters University, and I was appointed to be the diocesan vocations director. So it was quite hectic.
That's quite a journey.
Yeah, it was quite a really busy time for me. So I had those three things all together, and I did that for 7 years, and then in 2004. I again went back to Lancaster, but this time to do a course. It was also a master's degree in information technology, management, and organization change. This was a degree to see how organizations are embracing the new technologies, and of course, for that matter, how the church can embrace IT. I was there for another 1 year, over 1 year, because the master's program in England is 1 year. It's
a cousin of mine did a master's degree at University College London.
Yes.
And it was a 1 year.
It's a 1 year course, quite intensive and so forth. So when I graduated with that, actually that's how even the connection to Raleigh Diocese comes, because just before I graduated, as I was writing my dissertation, which was about the church in the digital age, I came to North Carolina.
And when was this?
This was, let's see, it was 2005.
2005?
2005.
Okay.
So
a lot of the digital things were becoming more of a presence in the church.
And so I came in 2005, and I was a guest at St. Michael's in Cary. At that time, Monsignor John Wall was the pastor. And one of the priests who was resident, Father Emmanuel Katongole, is also a Ugandan priest, but at that time he was on the faculty at Duke University, but he was resident at St. Michael's in Cary. And he invited me to come and join them as they were celebrating Uganda Matters Day. There was a choir of Ugandan parishioners from Boston. They came to St. Michael's. So I came to be the main celebrant. And that's why I came, and I was at St. Michael's. The one thing that struck me was how the parish itself had already embraced IT. And
because they were growing very rapidly.
Exactly. They had a website already then and so forth. So I said, I wish I can get a few months here in the U.S. to do an internship. So my bishop, Cardinal Emmanuel Wamala, agreed for me to have an internship here in the U.S., and that's why I spent the whole of 2006 here in Raleigh Diocese. Once a week I used to go to the Catholic Center at the Computer Services Department, and I was assigned to be a parochial vicar at two parishes, St. Mary's in Goldsboro and St. Mary Mother of the Church in Garner.
Okay.
So, but once a week on Wednesday I used to go to the Catholic Center.
Wow.
So I was here in 2006. At the beginning of 2007, I went back to Uganda. And guess what? My bishop, I thought I was going back to teach. And my bishop appointed me Chancellor of the Diocese. That's what I did from the beginning of 2007 to 2013. So I was doing administration work at the... Part of my work during that time was to make sure that we embrace IT. We didn't have a website for the diocese. So I did a lot of outsourcing to make sure that we really digitized the systems. So I did that for a good 6 years. And then in 2013, I came back to Raleigh Diocese, and I was appointed Sacramento minister at the University of North Carolina in Wilmington.
Okay.
I was there for 2 years, 2013 to 2015. While I was in UNCW, the pastor at St. Therese had health issues, and the diocese asked me to also assist us to offer priestly services. And I was at St. Therese as well. Then from June 2015 to 2018, I was here in Raleigh. I was a campus minister at NC State, the Doggett Center. I was there for 3 years. Wow. And then since July 2018, I'm now pastor at All Saint in Hampstead. So it has been really...
It's been a lot. A lot has happened in several years.
Exactly. So in the 34 years, in summary, you can tell that 18 years I've been serving in Uganda, 10 years in the United States, and 6 years I was in England as a student, but at the same time helping out at doing parochial ministry over the weekend. So my work as a priest has been vocation animation, teacher in schools, campus ministry, parish ministry, and also administration at the Diocesan Courier.
I'm sensing a theme here. You like numbers.
I do.
You like a lot of statistics. And for our listeners here, Monsignor has a printout, and he has the breakdown. And I absolutely love that you went through to talk about your background from Uganda, London, and then coming here. So I think that's incredible. I feel like I don't hear a lot of priests talking about digitizing things in parishes. I think that that's a huge need, and it's really exploded over the last 20 years, as far as the internet has been a thing. Can you talk a little bit more about what also made you interested in making that a mission of yours, to kind of get parishes up to speed and kind of within this century as far as technology is concerned?
You see, we don't have to remain behind. The world is moving. The world is always on the go. And we have to read the signs of the times.
Absolutely.
If you don't read the signs of the times, then you are not going to be relevant. So while I was still in Uganda and so forth, and I said, well, can I go more into physics? But then I said, now it's time to look at how we can also embrace the technologies. In fact, at that time, we didn't have so many things and in Uganda. But of course, now things have greatly improved and so forth. And everybody is using all those systems, and it helps with communication. You reach out to people just by a click of something. And so many people would definitely get to know what you are trying to communicate.
Yeah.
So it's just really reading the signs of the times and trying to keep abreast.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of parishes here in the Triangle, too, have started even utilizing virtual ways to do collections as well, to make it easier on parishioners.
Nice. It's secure, fast, and so forth. Whether people are there or they are visiting, everything, they will just be part.
Just a quick, another app to use, another thing they could use on their phones. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more kind of about how your Catholic faith and your background kind of go hand in hand. Can you talk about kind of what your faith was like prior to becoming a priest?
Oh, it's so amazing. In the sense that I was born in a Catholic family. I was born at a Catholic hospital. And what happened is just before your mother left the hospital, you were baptized. I was born...
On the day you were born?
I was born on the 31st of January, and 3 days later, I was baptized.
Wow,
the 3rd of February. So all my siblings were baptized in the hospital. That was the practice then. So I became a Catholic. I mean, that's only the religion I grew up knowing, right from my home. Everybody, even my grandparents, were both Catholics and so forth. So that's how I grew up. Yeah.
Do you have a lot of siblings?
Yes, I'm one of 10.
Oh, wow. 1 of 10.
Yeah, 1 of 10.
And were they all very religious, too, in their faith?
They all went to parochial schools, and then... they are all married with families. We lost 2 of those, so at the moment 8 of us are living. And yes, they are still Catholics. Some are more active than others, and so forth. But generally, most of them really, wherever they are really practicing, and they're trying to impart the faith to their kids, my nieces and nephews. That's why I've done so many definitely weddings and baptisms in the family.
Oh, I love that. Before we continue, I just want to take a second to remind our listeners that we are chatting with Monsignor Joseph Ntuwa from All Saints Hampstead Parish in North Carolina. So let's chat a little bit more about kind of your journey to becoming a priest. Can you talk to kind of what led you in that direction? So you've always been Catholic, cradle Catholic. That's always been a part of your life. Did you have any times in your life where you thought you might want to pursue a different vocation?
What happened is that I started serving Mass at an early age, at 6. After
like as an did they do altar serving?
Yes,
okay.
Whenever I received First Holy Communion. But I have to say, we had school masses, and then after First Holy Communion, you always enrolled as an altar server, and I just loved serving Mass. I have to admit, we had a priest, Father David. He had just returned from his studies. He had just returned from his doctoral studies from Rome. He had studied liturgy and came back to the diocese in Kampala. And he was appointed pastoral coordinator. Don't forget, around that time, I'm talking about now 1969.
Okay.
That was after, of course, the reforms of the Second Vatican Council. So Father David had that task of trying to see to it that the reforms of the Second Vatican Council, especially as regards liturgy, are well received among the people. So he was a priest resident in my home parish. He was such a charismatic priest. He was a gifted preacher, great singing voice, and very accessible to all of us. He really inspired me, and I said, I think I want to be like this guy. I want to really serve God as a priest. And that's where the genesis of my vocation, and I went, told my mother, Mom, I want to be a priest. She said, oh, we shall see. That's nice. She was excited. We shall see, Joseph, and so forth. But also at home, I think it was nurtured because we did have a routine of daily prayers. And what happened, every day of the week, one of the kids had to lead the night prayers. Before we went to bed, we had to say the night prayers. And my day was Wednesday. But you had to know that, okay, Wednesday, probably we have a devotion to St. Joseph. And at the end of the prayers, you have to bring a song of St. Joseph. If it's Friday, the Sacred Heart. Saturday, the Blessed Mother. Sunday, the Trinity. So we all had days. So at home, we had those prayers. During the months of May and October, we also had to pray the Rosary together as a family. So it came naturally for me. I just even loved Mass to the extent that I go to the parts of the Mass, and at times I used to act like a priest. I gather my siblings around and they say, let's have Mass. And
you would just coordinate the whole thing.
And they come family around, and then I make, cut small papers as if they are the hosts.
Oh, it was the sweetest thing. Yeah. I know. I remember when I was younger, we used to play Mass too.
Exactly.
It's kids just modeling it.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Kids love that, and so forth. Yes.
Yes. That's so sweet, and especially, that's great on your parents for really instilling that kind of environment to foster all of you to pray together as a family, and to have those practices ingrained in you from an early age.
Yes, and of course, my mom was a teacher at a Catholic school, and she was also a catechist and so forth. And so the environment was very conducive for all of us. In fact, at that school, which was the 7 years, other kids during my time, they always used to ask, who want to be priests? I was always one of the first ones to raise my hand. Who would like to be religious nuns? So, by God's grace, during that time, 4 of us are priests. During that time.
From your class?
Not my class, but it was a period of about 7 years.
Okay.
Because that primary school had from grade 1 to grade 7.
Okay.
So amongst those 7, myself, I think I was in grade 6, and Nicholas and Charles were in the same grade. So Nicholas and Charles and Remigius are other priests, and myself. So 4 of us are priests, and 2, Josephine and Rosemary, are religious nuns. So that was all. There was a lot of vocational animation at that time in that primary school and so forth. So it was so conducive for us.
Sure. I'm curious to hear kind of what your experience was as far as attending Mass or being part of a Catholic community in a few different countries. What was that like going from your upbringing to the UK? Because I know there's a lot of Protestant people there, and then coming here. Can you expand on some of that?
Yeah, certainly. In Uganda, of course, the Mass is the same. You know exactly the different parts and so forth.
Would they do Latin Masses?
But in the new rite.
Okay,
not the Tridentine and so forth, but it's more in the local languages. And don't forget that after the Second Vatican Council, that's when they also introduced the different kind of instruments. The African drum, now drums are used during Mass to accompany music and so forth.
Like more contemporary music sometimes?
Yes, so you have different styles.
Sure.
You have, usually at any parish, they will have different kind of Masses. One would be more like the traditional, with the organ and so forth, and then you have a bit of some of the contemporary, and then you have something with a bit of the local musical instruments and so forth.
Okay.
Yeah. Because when the Uganda Martyrs were canonized in 1964, and that's when also at St. Peter's there was a Ugandan choir using the Ugandan instruments when the African Martyrs were being canonized by Paul VI in 1964. So, to get back to your question, the liturgies are more vibrant in Uganda.
Okay.
And that kind of thing. And I have to say also here, if you have a very good music ministry, it's wonderful. Probably in England, they were more subdued. And, England has got those big old churches, and very few people normally do attend. So it was more...
Not as much as vibrant community you were
England, it was not. Uganda, the cultures, people are always vibrant and so forth. And they just love the liturgies. They're very expressive. On big days, there's also what they call liturgical dances.
No, I think that's wonderful, especially when you're looking at just kind of the community that Jesus wants us to have with other people, and kind of a lot of love and joy, I think, is a big part of it. Even though there are parts of the Catholic faith where we have to kind of be serious and know the serious parts, but still be full of love and joy.
Especially, when people come for the liturgy, you want them to actively participate, to be conscious, to know why am I here? Why have I come for this Sunday liturgy or for this daily Mass to worship my Lord? So I have to put all my heart into it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That's great. So what about when you started coming to the U.S.? Because I feel like there are a lot of different parishes, and in the Triangle alone and the Diocese of Raleigh, there are so many different types of churches.
Yes, but what you realize is that, in the sense, one thing I've loved about the U.S. here is the music ministry.
Yeah.
Most of the parishes have got wonderful music ministry, and that helps to animate the liturgies. And what I do love is the active participation of the parishioners. When you do come, put yourself there. Just not tick boxes that it is Sunday. No. Just act, why am I here? It's just because I'm grateful to God for the gift of life, for the many blessings. So I come here to worship and so forth. So I think liturgies here are amazing, and they are great.
And you had mentioned that your mentor was more charismatic. Can you talk about how being like the charismatic renewal might have had a place?
Charismatic in the sense that he was a very energetic priest.
Okay.
At that time, the charismatic renewal had not even come to Uganda, because it's something that has come probably in the 80s.
Right.
But that was in around the 1960s and so forth.
Okay.
But what he was at that time, he was a very singing priest. He sang all the parts of the mass. He wanted the people to participate, and by doing that, I just felt I wanted to be part of this. I remember, I think earlier on, people didn't really understand what was going on and so forth, but Father David always wanted for people to participate, to be active, to sing, and he always rallied them out. I said, yes, you have come here not to sleep, to pray, sing, and so forth. So he was that kind of priest, yes.
So when you are saying we want people to be active in the church, what can parishioners do to be active during a Mass? So is it whether it's singing and being involved in the music ministry, or if it's active listening during a homily?
No, I think conscious and active participation means,
just
for instance,
present.
Exactly, be fully present. For instance, if you are going to be a reader at Mass, prepare. Because you are going to proclaim the word of the Lord. So you put your heart into something, and then you are here because that kind of presence. What is this? The Lord is here. The Lord is present in the Holy Eucharist and so forth. So what ministry am I going to participate in? Am I the usher? Why am I here as an usher? Because I'm welcoming people to come, they are going to worship. So it's that's what we are trying to do, that kind of in the sense of being a disciple, leading others to Christ in whatever possible way we do.
No, I think that's super inspiring, and I appreciate you explaining that to our listeners, because I know a lot of people sometimes do go to Mass to check that box. Like you're saying, and it's easy to zone out sometimes.
Exactly. But if you prepare, we give out books with readings to parishioners, and I always encourage them that just before you do come, go through the reading. And so
you look at it ahead of time.
Exactly, and so forth. And that helps a great deal, so that you get the best out of the Mass.
Yeah, I think of it like doing your homework a little bit. Or I like to read along sometimes too, especially readings and in the Gospel. So we are starting to come up on time a little bit, but I did want to ask you kind of what is a general message that you might have to some of our listeners, people that might want to grow more in their faith, ways that they could help serve more in the parish, coming from a Monsignor such as yourself?
First of all, I think people, let us always appreciate the gift of life that God has given us. Then appreciate the gift of faith. And also try to get involved in your faith and live your faith in the sense of reaching out to the others as much as possible. Try to live your faith, in the best possible way. In the best possible way by trying to really live. We are all unique. We all have something to offer to the world. I remember one of my bishops in Kampala told us that you people are unique, that God never made photocopies.
God never made photocopies.
We are so unique. That's why even our fingerprints are completely different.
Yeah.
So there is a reason for each one of us to be in the world. There is something that we can offer to the world. So just be yourself and live the life to the fullest by giving back to God all the gifts that He has given you, and impart it to the children, and just lead by example and try to live the faith and show it in words. I think people we don't have even to tell them who we are, but by the way we live helps a great deal. I used to be when I was at NC State, one time I used to tell my students, I said, just help. When you see somebody probably looking for the place, he's still a freshman, just show them. They are going to say, why is she kind? Why is he so kind? It's just because he's a Christian. He loves his faith. He lives the faith. Yes.
Those beautiful words. So you heard it from Monsignor, all of our listeners. Be yourself. You are not a photocopy. And also at the same time, just to our conversation before, be with the times, as you're saying. We have to move with the times in the church and, make things more available to people. If you guys are in a parish, look for ways to digitize things, maybe ways that you can share more about the parish. I think that's really important. So tell me a little bit about something you didn't expect when you became a priest.
Nicole, it's so amazing. We are definitely often happiest when we serve others. But when we do things that we are passionate about, to serve in the name of our Lord, there's a depth of fulfillment and happiness that is hard to believe. But when I became a priest, I just realized you become part of people's lives in a way you can't even describe. You are available for the people on a daily basis, to bring people healing and hope in difficult moments, to share the excitement of baptisms and weddings, to give Christian burial to the deceased and comfort those who mourn. There are so many things, and you just don't know how you become part of the family. Recently, I had to go back to England because little Julie, I gave her First Holy Communion. And she told me, do you know, Father Joe, I want you to be the main celebrant of video when I'm in my white gown as a bride, and I had to fly to England for that. So you become so much part of people's lives and so forth.
Yes,
and
these are the special memories and milestones that people make in their life.
Exactly.
And you impact that directly.
And you just don't know, but because you are being a priest and you are there for them, they become part of, But also, being a priest brings that so that, when people invite me to their homes, I don't take it for granted. They invite you because you're a priest. You have become a friend. You have become family, and so forth. And so many things come into play. There are certain things that, have come to my life as a priest to realize that I wouldn't have come into contact with these things unless I was a priest. For instance, when I was only 3 months a priest, I met Mother Teresa of Calcutta. She had come
incredible.
to Uganda to start her community, and I met with her.
What was her presence like?
Oh gosh, I can't tell you. She just held my hand and said, "Father Joseph, I will pray for you."
Oh my gosh,
yes.
There's a lot of weight in there.
That was in November of 1988.
Wow.
And I also met John Paul II, so those were wonderful moments when he held my hand. And I just feel God has really blessed me. And so when you journey, then you do things that you don't even expect to be coming in your way. When I went to Hampstead, I didn't know whether I'll be embarking on this program of expanding the facilities at our church.
Can you explain to our listeners more about what the expansion is for?
Yes. As I said, it's a growing area, lots of people. Mm-hmm. As I said, 66% of the parishioners have come in the last 10 years. So we need to expand the space for a proper worship area, because what we do have is a multi-purpose place, so that we have really a proper church, and then spaces for discipleship and formation. That's what we have embarked on, and we called it Living Our Faith, Building to Serve. And I have to say, Nicole, I am amazed how the people have been so supportive. Because during these difficult times, we have already raised over 3 million.
Oh my
since
goodness.
July, and that we hope to break ground in the spring of next year. And for our listeners, definitely you can learn more about our growth plan. You just go to our website, allsaintsccnc.org/growth. You can also support us if you want. If you go, that leads you, because we are building the kingdom of God, and we hope definitely that will help to make sure that people have got a church dedicated, worthy of the Eucharist, and at the same time we have spaces for discipleship programs and for formation of our children. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. So tell me a little about some doubts that you might have had before joining the priesthood.
As I said, I went to the junior seminary quite early, and I was ordained a transitional deacon on June 28th, 1987. So I had been in the seminary for almost 12 years. However, the morning of the ordination to the diaconate, we were going through Kampala city to go to the cathedral. One of my friends, who was a deacon, told me and said, "Joseph, you are going through this city as a layman. When you come back, you are going to be a cleric." That really hit me so hard. I said, oh my goodness.
It started weighing on you more.
Exactly. No turning back. In the sense that I just said, oh gosh. So the doubt I had, fear of the unknown. This is now no turning back. I'm going forward. And it really hit me. It really hit me, and feelings of unworthiness. Who am I that you are choosing me to be a minister of your mysteries? But later on, as I was reflecting about it, and in the course of the years, I just realized that we are only human, but you will have to depend on the grace of the Lord. And that's why at my ordination, my prayer and the guiding theme of my priestly life was, fear not, I'm with you. I'm your God. I'll uphold you with my victorious hand, as we read in Isaiah chapter 41, verse 10. And also, when I reflected about the stations of the cross, our Lord fell 3 times on his way to Calvary. And I just said, really, Jesus' passion was part of his ministry. So sometimes things might not work out the way you like. You can plan to do this and so forth. But we always have to trust and surrender to the will of God, who helps us in whatever. And that's why when I was celebrating my Silver Jubilee, I turned to Psalm 89, and I invited the people to come and sing with me the great love of the Lord forever. But always the doubts are there as you are going on something very important. I do believe also when people are getting married, they might be dating and so forth, but when really they take that vow seriously, there's that fear of the unknown and that kind of thing. I heard that, but certainly total surrender to God's will and trust that the Lord, he knows why he calls you for a ministry, and he will give you whatever you need to support you.
Amen. And that was within the morning you were going to be for ordination?
Yes.
Wow. So you had all of that in one morning?
No, the morning I had those fears. But
you were thinking about it.
Exactly. Okay. During the course of my years as a priest, I realized the first years you are always hard on yourself. Thinking that probably
imposter syndrome.
Because you think you are going to do everything. Mm-hmm. But then you realize that no, we are not the messiahs. We are mere servants. We are not the Redeemer, but we are working for the Lord. So that helps you to definitely put your trust in the Savior.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. That is our time for today. Thank you so much, Father, for joining me today. and for driving all this way. I know it was a little bit of a drive, but that's it for Meet the Priest for another week. If you missed any part of our program, you can play our past shows by going to Catholic540am.org and clicking on local programs. You can also listen to our radio show and podcast on our Divine Mercy Radio smartphone app, available via the Apple App Store or Google Play. Just search Divine Mercy Radio NC and you could download it for free. The executive director of Catholic 540 AM Divine Mercy Radio is Cecilia Flannery. Our director of programming is Peter K. O'Connell. The coordinating producer for Meet the Priest is Tina Dawson. Our engineer is Keith Flannery. I'm Nicole Jungclas. Thank you for listening. God bless, and don't forget to say your rosary.